An introduction to the poem When You Are Old by William Butler Yeats for the HSC Critical Study of Text, Module B.
When you are old and grey and full of sleep and nodding by the fire, take down this book and slowly read and dream of the soft look your eyes had once and of their shadows deep. How many loved your moments of glad grace and loved your beauty with love false or true, but one man loved the pilgrim soul in you and loved the sorrows of your changing face. And bending down beside the glowing bars, murmur a little sadly how love fled and paced upon the mountains overhead and hid his face amid a crowd of stars.
When You Are Old was first published in a collection titled The Countess Kathleen and Various Legends and Lyrics in 1892, within a special section titled The Rose. The rose itself, in the words of Yeats, was a symbol of spiritual love and supreme beauty and became ubiquitous with his early poetry. The rose becomes symbolic of his personal desire, of femininity, beauty, the priestess of an occult shrine, and a figure for Ireland. For initiates of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, an occult group which Yeats joined in 1890, the rose was a central symbol and is replicated as being a vision of eternal beauty. Yeats unites this idea with more traditional links to romantic love in order for the icon to function as a paean to Maud Gonne. When You Are Old is based on a sonnet by 16th century poet Pierre de Ronsard. Both Ronsard and Yeats reduce a formerly beautiful woman to an isolated, bent, and aged figure, huddled over a fire, regretting the loss of love. In the final lines of Ronsard's poem, he addresses the female subject directly. Live, if you hear me. Wait not for tomorrow. Gather instead the roses of life. Yeats reduces Ronsard's Petrarchan sonnet to an English pentameter douzaine, or 12-lined lyric. He does this to parallel a rising tension, reflected in the parabolic structure of the ode, the curve of memory echoed in the curve of atmosphere in the poem. In doing so, Yeats is able to create a coherent emotional atmosphere, rising, climaxing, and falling, as stated by Wendler. The form therefore parallels his enduring preoccupation with change, time, and loss. The lyric creates a kind of musicality and the metre a prosody which drives development of concept. When You Are Old encompasses a range of influences on Yeats: Irish mythology, mysticism, and Romanticism, and one of the primary women in his life, Maud Gonne. It is a lyrical ode, often believed to be addressed to her. However, the subject is left unnamed, enabling the poem to sustain a universal message, a melancholic message. At the time of writing, his romance with her was yet to be confirmed, her preoccupation with political affairs seeming to dominate her attention. His longing for her and her distance from him is reflected in the tone of the poem. When You Are Old is an example of Yeats' earlier poetry, typified by a focus on desire and portrayal of individuals who are isolated and yearning for escape. The personal tension in the poem produces a reconciliation of opposites that contextualizes universal truths for his readers. Influenced by Romantic poet Shelley, Yeats imbues the poem with recurrent patterns and symbols, even replicating Shelley's motif of the evening star as love is immortalized in heaven in the final quatrain. In the first quatrain, we see an old grey-haired woman nodding by a fire, and we are taken to a distant land, memories past, to when you are old. Yeats is able to create a romantic, dreamlike state in the reader's imagination. the almost hypnotic effect of the soft Irish burrs of old and grey, the sibilance of sleep, slowly, soft and shadows, and the gentle, rhythmic, unhurried regularity of the iambs soften the imperative. Take down this book, in which she is commanded both to read his tribute to her and to see the dangers and mutability of misplaced affection. As the speaker asserts, physical beauty is transient. The soft look your eyes had once, and shadows deep, suggest age has withered a formerly beautiful woman. However, the speaker asserts in the second stanza, he loves the pilgrim soul in you, which is contrasted to the potentially artificial love of other suitors who loved her beauty false or true. The antithesis of glad and sorrows, along with false and true, places his love against the many to show its transcendence. The religious metaphor of pilgrim soul further reinforces the divine qualities of his adoration, placing his love for her as true and reverent. The speaker asserts the veracity of his love, which encompasses the sorrows of your changing face, as he would have journeyed into age with her had love, or Yeats himself, not fled. In the final stanza, we can detect the leitmotif of castigation, a reward for his unrequited love, as he is united with the grandeur of the world amid mountains overhead, while she is left to murmur, a little sadly. Here in the last lines of the poem do Yeats's antinomies crystallize the key and universal theme of the power and permanence of poetry, along with romance and loss. While the muse of his poem will age and regret forsaking his affection, he will establish his immortality through his art, the magnitude of his feeling at one with the magnitude of the universe. While the glowing bars will imprison her, the speaker will be amid a crowd of stars, the disjunction between the two reinforced through rhyme and contrast of the physical bars to the ethereal crowd of stars. Love is personified. His love is externalized and deified within classical allusion to heroic mythology, as he is immortalized amongst the stars. He climbs the ladder and transcends the mortal and leaves the constraints of time. Beyond her reach, perfect and absolute, part praise and part condemnation, the apotheosis is complete. He lives forever.